You've been told you live in the real world. But what if the walls around you aren't made of concrete or code, but of thought? Every frustration, every sense of being stuck is the echo of a simulation, not built by machines, but by your own unquestioned beliefs. You wake up, check your phone, scroll through reminders of who you should be, and move through the day like a well-trained avatar. You react to money, time, people, and problems as if these forces control you. Yet quietly, something inside whispers, "This can't be all there is." That whisper isn't rebellion, it's memory, the memory of your real nature. Today's world talks endlessly about digital simulations, AIs, and parallel universes. But the most convincing simulation is psychological. It runs in your nervous system. It shapes what you notice, what you dismiss, and what you dare to expect. The more you identify with it, the smaller reality feels. So here's the real question. What if the cage isn't around you, but inside your way of seeing? Exploring the cause, how the simulation forms. From the first moment you were praised or scolded, your mind started coding its world. You learned that approval equals safety and failure equals danger. You learned that money requires struggle, that love demands sacrifice, that miracles happened to other people. These lines of code became beliefs, and beliefs became physics. They decide what kind of opportunities even appear on your screen of life. If you believe success takes decades, your perception will edit out every fast path. If you believe healing is slow, your body will obey. Neuroscientists call this predictive processing. Your brain doesn't see reality. It predicts it, then fills in details to confirm the prediction. In other words, you don't live in the world, you live in your model of the world. That's why two people can stand in the same storm. One sees threat, another sees adventure. The storm is the same, the simulation differs. Every morning you re-enter this mental program. You replay your identity, your name, your problems, your plans. It feels stable because the rules rarely change. But look closer. This stability is exactly what keeps the prison strong. The familiar thoughts you repeat are the bars. The emotional gravity that keeps you trapped. Why can't we just drop limiting thoughts and walk free? Because thoughts have weight. Each "I can't" adds a tiny pull downward, a kind of psychological gravity. The more you know what's impossible, the heavier you become. A child has almost no gravity. They can turn a stick into a sword, the floor into lava, and the backyard into another planet, until an adult explains what's real. With every explanation, the child sinks deeper into three-dimensional rules. As adults, we confuse heaviness with wisdom. We collect facts about limitations and call it maturity. We stop experimenting with reality and start memorizing it. Yet the heaviest minds often feel the most tired, while the lightest minds, those that still question, breathe easiest. This mental gravity pulls you toward predictable states. Same worries, same arguments, same paycheck, same mood cycles. The loop feels safe because it's familiar, but safety without freedom is captivity. So ask yourself, when did certainty replace curiosity? When did you stop testing what your imagination could actually do? Discovering the fourth dimension of thought. Most people think reality unfolds only through space and time, past, present, future. But there's another axis, one that science and mysticism both hint at: consciousness itself. Physicists once debated whether the universe is a film projected frame by frame or an infinite reel that already exists. The deeper answer came from thinkers like Neville Goddard. The film already exists. You choose which frame to play by your state of awareness. You're not traveling through time, you're tuning through states. The moment you decide something is impossible, you freeze at a specific frequency. The moment you feel a new possibility as real, you shift to another frame. This isn't fantasy, it's perception in motion. When you vividly recall a happy memory, your heartbeat, chemistry, and expression change right now, not in the past. You just jump to that coordinate in consciousness. The same mechanism can bring future states into the present. That's the hidden fourth dimension, psychological space where all outcomes coexist. Your imagination isn't a playground, it's a control room. But you keep using it to worry instead of to design. Practical step 1, making the invisible visible. The first step out of the simulation isn't dramatic, it's observational. Start catching the automatic lines of code you speak every day. Notice how often you declare laws without realizing it. I always mess this up. People never change. Good things don't last. Each statement is an unconscious command. Don't fight them. Just notice them. Write them down. Seeing the script is the beginning of rewriting it. Then, before you sleep, replay your day as if every limitation had already been resolved. Feel what it's like to have lived the same hours, but with ease instead of tension. Your mind can't tell imagination from memory, it will store the new version as data. That single act begins to loosen the bars. Practical step 2, lighten your mental gravity. Pick one area of life that feels heavy. Instead of solving it, start making it lighter. How? Replace conclusions with questions. I'll never get out of debt becomes, what if this situation is already shifting in my favor? That tiny what if removes a ton of psychological mass. You don't need blind positivity, you need spaciousness. Every possibility requires room to enter. Doubt and fear are not enemies, they are signals showing where space is missing. Next time fear appears, don't suppress it. Ask, what belief is this fear protecting? Often, it's guarding an old rule, like, I must control everything or I'm not enough. Once you see the rule, it loses weight. The lighter you become, the more easily consciousness rises into new possibilities. You are not inside a technological matrix. You are inside a mental pattern that learned to call itself reality. The walls don't vanish by force, they vanish by recognition. Every moment you pause and question an old rule, a section of that wall turns transparent. Through the crack, you glimpse a larger world, one that's been waiting the whole time. So tonight, before you sleep, ask gently, if my limits are learned, what happens when I stop repeating them? That single question can open the doorway to the next dimension of your own mind. The law of states and the architecture of change. If everything you live is a projection of belief, then changing your life isn't about wrestling with the outer world, it's about shifting the state that's producing it. You've probably tried to force results before. More effort, more hours, more positive affirmations. Yet, the pattern repeats. Why? Because the simulation doesn't respond to effort, it responds to state. The same action from two different states gives opposite results. One version of you writes an email and gets ignored. Another version writes the same words and doors open. The outer act was identical. The inner frequency was not. So the real question becomes, what state are you broadcasting from right now? Understanding states of consciousness. A state isn't just mood. It's the total pattern of feeling, expectation, and self-image that you inhabit in a given moment. Think of it like a radio frequency. Love, confidence, scarcity, guilt, each has its own station. You can't hear the song of freedom while tuned to the static of fear. Neville Goddard called these states psychological dwelling places. Modern psychology might call them neural networks. Whatever the name, they behave the same way. Once you enter one, it filters perception to confirm itself. That's why when you feel unlucky, coincidences pile up against you. When you feel magnetic, chance seems to assist you. Reality isn't changing its rules. You are changing the filter through which the rules are read. Every conversation, every decision, every micro gesture is a broadcast of your current state. The world echoes it back like sonar. The trap of linear change. Most people try to climb from one state to another using time and willpower. I'll become confident after I lose weight. I'll feel abundant once the debt is gone. But that's a three-dimensional strategy. It treats transformation as distance. In four-dimensional thinking, all states exist simultaneously. Confidence isn't after insecurity, it's parallel to it. When you decide to wait until circumstances change, you're confirming you're still tuned to the lower frequency. Waiting is choosing the same station while hoping for a new song. That's why breakthroughs often happen in a flash. A sudden surrender, a laugh in the middle of despair, a moment where you forget to struggle. In that instant, you've switched stations. The emotional mechanics of transition. Shifting states isn't an intellectual act, it's sensory. Your body must feel the new frequency before your mind can explain it. That's why affirmations sometimes fail. They try to install new code over old emotion. Emotion is the electrical current of belief. When you change how you feel about something, you rewrite its meaning. Close your eyes for a second. Remember a moment when you felt genuinely safe. Notice the temperature, the weight of your body, the rhythm of your breath. Now bring that same bodily calm into a current challenge. You just introduced a new frequency into an old pattern. The simulation can't hold both versions at once. One will dissolve, usually the heavier one. Practical step 1. Identify your default states. Start noticing your recurring emotional settings like weather reports, anxious morning fog, midday tension, evening exhaustion. Don't judge them, map them. Right. When money is mentioned, my stomach tightens. When I imagine the future, I brace. These reflexes are coordinates. Once you know them, you can stop calling them truth. Then ask, what feeling would exist if the problem were already solved? Maybe it's relief, curiosity, gratitude. Sit with that feeling until it becomes familiar. You're not pretending. You're rehearsing residence in another universe. Practical step 2. Assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. This phrase isn't mystical poetry, it's neuro-reprogramming. When you vividly feel from the end, your nervous system updates its baseline. It starts broadcasting new predictions, forcing reality to recalibrate. For example, someone who feels chronically behind must first sense the flavor of being on time. That might mean relaxing shoulders, slowing speech, or savoring moments instead of chasing them. Those small bodily signals tell the simulation, timeline corrected. Within days, outer coincidences appear. Calls returned, plans aligning, chance meetings. They aren't luck, they're physics. The field rearranges to match the signal you sustain. The resistance phase. As you stabilize in a higher state, old patterns will surface like ghosts asking to be fed. Bills may arrive, doubts whisper louder, people may test your boundaries. This isn't failure, it's recalibration. Every outdated belief must reveal itself before it dissolves. The key is not to fight the echo. A mirror doesn't argue with its reflection, it waits until the image changes. Hold the new state gently, even while the old world trembles. Over time, you'll notice something subtle. your reactions slow down. Instead of being pulled by circumstances, you start observing them like weather patterns passing through. That stillness is power. Practical step 3, the two-world practice. Here's a daily exercise. Each morning, acknowledge two worlds, the one you see and the one you choose. Speak softly to yourself. Both exist, but I will feed the one I prefer. Then act as if the chosen world is real now. You'll feel the paradox. Your senses say one thing, your consciousness another. That tension is the doorway. Stay there without rushing to resolve it. Soon, the senses adjust. The world you chose begins to echo back. Every moment you hold a feeling, you are voting for a universe. The simulation listens not to words, but to emotional frequency. So tonight, instead of asking, "When will things change?" ask, "What version of me is already living that change?" Feel from that place. Breathe from that place. And notice how quietly the walls begin to fade. If reality mirrors state, what new world would appear if you refuse to feel small, even for one day? Folded time, parallel worlds, and daily practice. You've seen how the simulation forms and how states run the show. Now we step into the piece almost everyone skips: time. Not the time on your clock, but the felt sense that life must unfold step by careful step. That sense is persuasive. It tells you, first pay the dues, then maybe receive the gift. It whispers, one day, when things line up. But what if the lining up begins after you shift, not before? What if time is less a road and more a sheet you can fold? The mind resists this, of course. It says, cause comes first, effect comes later. Yet notice your own experience. A memory can change your heartbeat in seconds. A future worry can tie your stomach in knots before anything occurs. Your body obeys the world inside your head right now. That's not philosophy. That's Tuesday afternoon biology. It hints at a deeper rule. Consciousness is senior. Time is its canvas. So let's talk about folded time, how to work with it, and how to live while holding two worlds at once, the one you see and the one you choose. Folded time, the quiet mechanics. Think of time as a long strip with moments printed across it. The usual way is to walk along the strip and wait for your feet to arrive at the scene you want. Folded time works differently. You take the strip in your hands and you bring the scene you want right over the scene you're in. They touch, not through logic, but through feeling. This is not wishing, it's residence. It's the same mechanism that lets a vivid memory make you laugh out loud or cry at a song from years ago. You didn't travel back there with your shoes, you traveled with your state. Your chemistry followed. The room didn't change, but your world did. You already know how to fold time. You do it whenever you relive joy or fear. The shift now is to use this native skill on purpose. People ask, won't I lose contact with reality? No, you'll gain better contact with a wider slice of it. You still pay bills, return calls, show up for people. You simply do it while standing in a different inner room. The chores are the same, the air inside that room is new. The chores stop arguing with you. Here's the irony. When you fold time and occupy the state of the result now, you tend to make better moves in the ordinary sequence. You notice opportunities you kept missing. You ask different questions. You risk the right risks instead of the noisy ones. To an outsider, it looks like chance. To you, it feels like a day finally matching the weather inside. Parallel worlds, choosing your street. If you've ever walked the same street in two different moods, you've already visited parallel worlds. In one world, the city is rude and cramped. In another, it's filled with color and human warmth. The storefronts are the same, the street is not. That contrast is a clue. States don't just tint your world, they place you in different versions of it. The mind pushes back here too. It says, that's just perception. But what is your life if not a chain of perceived moments? If two versions of you meet the same person, and one version sparks a friendship while the other leaves with a misunderstanding, did you both share the same world? Formally, yes. Functionally, no. Your choice of state arranged a different set of doors. The simplest way to work with this is to talk to yourself like a traveler. Which street am I on today? If it's the street of scarcity or the street of self-doubt, don't argue with the traffic. Change streets. You change streets by changing states. You change states by changing what you feel from. That shift is private and immediate, and the outer world catches up like a delayed echo. There's a reason athletes, artists, and founders ritualize their state before stepping on stage. They're not asking the crowd to grant it, they're choosing their street in advance. Many have a tell, a breath, a gesture, a phrase that clicks them into place. It looks like superstition from far away. It is state selection up close. The 2 times habit, living here and there. Here's the practice that bends the simulation without drama. Live in 2 times at once. Maintain ordinary attention in the present. Answer the email, cook the meal, do your reps, while resting your inner weight in the finished scene. Not a someday version, a now version felt in your body. If your desired scene is peace with money, let shoulders drop while you pay a bill. If it's closeness in your relationship, let your face soften while you listen. If it's health, breathe like someone who trusts the body's repair. These are tiny choices, but they adjust the tuning dial of your day. Soon, the same actions are expressing a different timeline. Someone might say, isn't that fake? No more fake than recalling a nice vacation while sitting on your couch. Your nervous system already treats imagery as input. Research in motor imagery shows that mentally rehearsing a movement can prime the same neural pathways used during the movement itself. Musicians use this. Athletes use this. Your life can use this. Feel first, then act. That sequence pierces the loop. Will you wobble? Yes. The mind will ask for proof. The timeline you dislike will try to bargain. That's okay. It's like learning balance on a bike. Don't lecture yourself for losing the line. Find it again. Shorten the gap between forgetting and remembering. That's skill. Interrupting the old film, the moment of flip. The old film tries to resume every time you stop paying attention. You'll catch yourself rehearsing worst-case scenes out of habit. The flip is to break the rehearsal. Open a window, wash your face, name 5 things you're grateful for with your hands on your heart. Not to be nice, but to put an actual weight on the scale of state. Gratitude is practical. It shifts the body out of fight or flight, which clears the screen for new options. Some people swear by a physical anchor, a ring you rotate, a bracelet you tap, a spot on your forearm you press with your thumb. Attach your preferred state to that gesture. When you do it, breathe once, like your result is normal. Not fireworks, normal. The more ordinary you can make the fulfilled state feel, the faster it becomes your default. An important point: old emotions may still visit. You'll still have human days. Fold them in too. Even this belongs, and even this does not cancel who I am. That sentence carries power. It tells the simulation that your identity sits above the weather. From that altitude, you can respond without being dragged. From healing to identity, stepping out of the costume. Many of us approach change like a long hospital stay. We ask for relief, we track symptoms, we search for causes. Necessary? Sometimes, yes. But there's a trap in making your entire identity about recovery. The role becomes sticky. The mind loves costumes. It forgets they are costumes. A sideways move often works better. Shift from "I'm healing this" to "I'm someone who naturally expresses health." From "I'm fixing money" to "I'm someone who handles money with grace." From "I'm learning confidence" to "I'm someone who speaks plainly and stands softly." Those phrases feel simple, but the shift is enormous. You're not chasing a result. You're returning to a self who finds the result ordinary. Identity settles the argument before it starts. When you pick it on purpose, choices stop feeling like battles. You stop negotiating with yourself about the basics. You stop looking for proof every hour. You just live, and the world reshapes around that living. What about other people? An honest question comes up. What about other people's choices? You can't fold someone else's time for them, true? But when your state shifts, the parts of them you meet will not be the same parts as before. We already see this. You behave differently beside a calm friend than beside a frantic one. Their state invites a different slice of you. Yours does the same to them. Sometimes relationships soften. Sometimes they clarify, and you part ways. Both outcomes are motion. Folding time isn't control, it's alignment. You're not bending others. You're ending the need to live on the street where conflict is your daily commute. The people who belong in your new world hear you more clearly there. The ones who don't will drift, often gently. Let that be okay. A walkthrough. Money, health, love. Take money. The heavy state sounds like behind. The light state sounds like on time. You can still have obligations while feeling on time. Let your breath match that claim. Decide what on time does this morning. Answer one message you avoid. Cancel one small leak. Put 10% aside, even if it's tiny. The act is not the only point. The state during the act is the point. Soon conversations shift, ideas surface, and one practical win arrives. Treat it calmly, as a normal sign that the street changed. Take health. The heavy state is fragile. The lighter state is in repair. Tiny choices signal that state. Sunlight on your face. A quiet walk after lunch. Water before coffee. 5 minutes of stillness where you let your body move tension on its own. Your cells are not stubborn. They are waiting for orders. You're the one who issues them through mood and attention. Take love. The heavy state is tested. The lighter state is seen. Spend one day listening as if you already trust the bond. Speak one honest sentence that you usually swallow. Stay open for 2 seconds longer before defending. People bloom when they feel safe. So do you. These sound small. They are. They also tilt the whole room. Handling the echoes. When the old world knocks. Every shift produces an echo. Old bills, old habits, old stories. They knock on the door to check if the new tenant lives here. Answer the door kindly. Pay what you can with a steady hand. If a mistake happens, forgive it quickly. If a fear wave hits, breathe and let it pass through the body like weather. Nothing ruins a garden faster than tearing up the soil to check for roots every hour. Plant, water, sun, patience. That's grown-up magic. There will be moments where you feel you're pretending. You are rehearsing, not pretending. You're rehearsing a chosen normal until it fits like your own clothes. Rehearsal is how the nervous system learns anything, from riding a bike to speaking a language. You don't accuse a child of being fake for wobbling. You cheer them on for trying again. Meditation for dimensional clarity. 10 minutes. Here is a simple practice to stabilize folded time. Sit with your back supported. Rest your hands on your legs. Close your eyes halfway. Breathe in through the nose for a slow count of 4, out for 6. The longer exhale tells your body it is safe. Bring to mind one scene that proves your desired state. Not a wish, a slice of life. If the goal is ease with money, maybe it's you checking an account and feeling steady. If the goal is health, maybe it's you walking upstairs and smiling at the top. If it's love, maybe it's you setting the table and seeing 2 plates. Keep it plain. Plain is strong. Now pick one sense to make it real. The click of a door. The texture of a mug. The morning light on a wall. Keep breathing as if this scene is normal. When your mind drifts, don't scold it. Bring it back the way you'd guide a child by the hand. After a minute or two, add one more sense: the smell of coffee, the feel of a ring, the weight of relaxed shoulders. Let your face carry the expression you would wear in that world. Finish by whispering, "This is ordinary for me." Open your eyes slowly. Take one action that matches the scene. Not a grand gesture, a small, honest step. This is how you braid the inner and the outer until they hold. Do this at night too, right before sleep, while your brain is naturally more suggestible. The first minutes after waking and the last minutes before sleep are prime time for new defaults. Use them. When doubt stays loud. Sometimes, despite practice, doubt keeps shouting. Fine, make space for it. Sit down with a notebook and let doubt speak for 2 pages without interruption. Then ask one question on a fresh page. If the result were already done, what would I do today? Write 3 lines. Pick one. Do it gently. You are building evidence, not to please a judge in the sky, but to calm your own animal brain. The brain loves proof. Give it proof, one quiet act at a time. If fear spikes, move your body. A brisk walk resets chemistry. A cold splash of water on your face can change your state in seconds. A few slow squats in place can discharge static. You aren't a floating head. You're a person with a spine. Use it. And if you need help, ask for it. Not from a place of collapse, but from the state that says, "I'm already headed there, a hand will make it smoother." People respond to that tone. They feel the difference, even if they can't name it. A word on patience and speed. Paradox alert. Go slow to go fast. When you rush to prove it's working, you announce that it isn't. When you relax into the choice and carry it quietly, you speed things up. There's a rhythm to change. You can sense when to move and when to let the field rearrange. If you listen, you'll catch that rhythm the way a surfer reads a wave. You don't command the ocean, you cooperate with it from a solid board. Some shifts will look instant, others will seem to take their time. Either way, you can live well now. There's no benefit in delaying joy until the photo matches your vision. Let joy come early. Joy changes your posture and your speech. It greases the hinges. It invites better callers to your door. Putting it all together, a day in the new world. Wake. Before the phone, breathe. Name your world in a sentence, out loud. Today, I live as someone who is already safe and provided for. Sit for 2 minutes in the plain scene that proves it. Let your face learn that expression. Move into your tasks with that face on. When the old street tries to pull you back, touch your ring or your bracelet. Take one slow breath and return. At midday, take 5 minutes to check the dial. If you drifted, reset. In the evening, rewrite the day as it would look from the fulfilled end. Store that version. Sleep in it. None of this requires a special room, a special teacher, or a special calendar date. It requires a decision to run your inner weather on purpose and to practice when it turns messy. That's all mastery is. Simple things done regularly until they feel like your own skin. You were never powerless. You were just taught to stare at a single wall and call it the whole house. The moment you soften your gaze, the edges blur and a doorway appears. What you step through isn't fantasy, it's the rest of your own mind. This isn't about escaping life. It's about ending the habit of living below your real height. Fold time when it helps. Choose your street each morning. Treat your desired world as ordinary. Let small acts carry big states. Be patient with yourself when you wobble. Steady again. There will come a morning, not far from now, when you realize you haven't argued with your old story in days. You'll glance back with a kind of kindness, grateful for the version of you that kept walking, even when the hallway felt long. You'll make coffee in a kitchen that holds the light differently. You'll send a message from a voice that sounds like home. And you'll smile, not because something magical happened to you, but because you finally remembered the simple magic you've always had. So here's your next step, simple and real. Tonight, choose one scene and wear it for 10 quiet breaths. Tomorrow, carry it into one ordinary task. Watch how the room responds. If you folded time right now and lived from the version of you who has already arrived, what small act would prove it before the day ends?